Hello, 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 and welcome to this episode of Angels Don't Lie. I'm your host, Jeanne Street, and I'm really excited to be with you here today because we're going to be talking about energy. And it's been a topic all month, which I'm excited about. This is about how we can emote our feelings out in a really cool way. And my guest today is really going to tap into our creative brilliance. And so I'm going to welcome Kari Del Vecchio.
Hi.
Welcome,
How are
Kari.
you?
And you might remember Kari. I know she's been on my shows before. We worked together for many years. She's my identical cousin. And if you didn't know it, Kari is the beautiful illustrator of the Goddess You and the Goddess You Journal. So welcome, Kari.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, my dear.
Yay. So I'm really excited because we had a short time to chat about, like, first of all, the energy that's happening in our world, from a pandemic and now, with the horror that's happening overseas in the Ukraine, all of the energy that we feel has really been amped up inside. And it kind of leaves people in a place of despair and not knowing how to process what they are feeling, how to process their emotions. And I think for you as an artist and a illustrator, almost like a storyteller, I'd say, right? I feel like, wow, like when you post your work, it moves people, like it creates an energy, like they feel it too, and they're like, wow, the beauty of that, or it tells a story. And so you're tapping into this, teacher brilliance that you offer of guiding people through how to, and I know you don't like to call it artistic, but creative talents, but why don't you like to say artistic? I don't know. I want to know more about that.
Well, because it's almost, I guess it sounds intimidating or something. Like it's not. Artist is like musician or whatever. Like it's like I don't know what, a title or something. Like everybody.
I'm with you on that. Like titles never do well with me.
Yeah, like not everybody can be like you, so to speak, like a spiritual medium, but they all have spirituality and they all have different aspects of whatever that means.
Yes.
So when creative seems like a friendlier word, I guess, in a way.
Yes.
I don't want people to feel like, oh, well, I'm not an artist, I can't draw a straight line. Well, that's, anybody has the ability to create. Right?
I agree with you. Like I never believed that I had that in me, because I did. I had that imposter syndrome, an unrealistic expectation, like you said earlier, like of how it had to look, right? Perfectionism.
Right. And I guess now that I'm 54, I feel like I can finally say I'm an artist because I've been doing this my whole life, so it's like that's how much practice I have had. And that's why I just don't want people to like have that intimidating word. That's all. That's what I was saying behind that.
Yes. And so we were talking about like the belief systems that we carry around so many things cross over, whether it be in using your healing ability gifts, like, like everybody's not supposed to be a medium, but maybe you are supposed to be in there, in guiding others, or a coach, or a nurse, maybe there's something that you're supposed to be doing. And you as in art, I almost feel like what you do is a form of art therapy without the formal title.
And I try, because art is an emotional process. It brings about emotion in the viewer, and it helps to move energy around. So I guess in a way, it is kind of like a healing modality, right?
So you said something earlier that really touched me, and I really definitely wanted you to share it with the audience about what art is to you.
Art for me, ever since I was a little kid, was like my coping mechanism. It helps me process my emotions. It helps me feel like it is my everlasting love letter, like to myself. It's like your energetic footprint, I guess, is kind of how I feel about art and what it means to me.
I love when you were talking, understanding when we see something, even in a line, like it has a meaning. Like,
Well, like that's the funny thing that I tell my students, like it sounds crazy, but lines in art, so line is a basic from point to point, right? So lines have emotion, and you wouldn't think that, right?
I
But
love that.
they really do, and you, it's like a subconscious thing that you probably wouldn't notice, which is just kind of like spirit. Like if you're not paying attention or if you're not in tune to it, you wouldn't
Mhm,
know it was there, right?
right.
So like, for example, if you look at like a horizontal line is like basically a sideways line. If you're holding a piece of copy paper, it would be the long way. That means horizontal, right? So I'm talking to my 7-year-old students. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it to sound like that.
No, I need that.
But a horizontal line is basically a line laying down. So if you're looking at the nice, beautiful sea, like in Turks and Caicos, and when like the sun goes down and it's resting right on top of the water, what do you think of?
I just love, it's so beautiful. I feel so peaceful.
Right. So horizontal lines are, they're relaxing lines. They look like they're sleeping, you know.
Oh,
That provokes an emotion in the viewer or in the
yeah.
artist, depending on how you look at it, right? So if you
Yes.
think about like diagonal lines, right? Diagonal lines are like, you know, not zigzag, but because zigzags are connected. So diagonal lines, they're uncontrolled, restless energy, like pouring rain, you know, or they could also be filled with excitement, you know.
Mm,
So when you look at art, or when you're drawing, or when you're just fooling around with paint, these things kind of tell a story. So that's why I find it so fascinating that, yes, the basic thing in art is line and they all have emotion.
and what about, you were talking a little bit about the lines in like the old and the Renaissance types of
Oh,
paintings,
so
like,
like the old masters, yes, I forgot. So you'll see a lot of the old masters, Renaissance type paintings like Da Vinci, things like that, where there's lots of vertical lines, which are up to up, straight up and down, like think of like, you know, soldiers in a row, and they suggest stability, and they also stretch from the earth, grounding, up to the heavens, which gives the viewer a feeling of spirituality. You see them a lot in religious paintings. So next
mm,
time you go to a museum, you will notice all the vertical lines. Like there's lots of columns, right? Lots of columns. Look at stained glass. They're all vertical
mm,
lines up and down. Even how they place their characters in within the painting, they're kind of linear. If you start to see things like that, break things down into layers, you'll notice them. It's kind of like, you know, I guess when having, you feel spirits or something like that. It's like the layers of
right.
things.
Yes, that makes sense. But like then there comes this thing with art too, with like, where do I start? Like, what do I do?
Well, most people go in and they want to say, well, I want to paint a beautiful landscape. Well, if you do that, if you go in and say, I want to paint that over there, like a photograph or something outside, like pen air painting, you're setting yourself up basically to fail unless you already have this, you know, predisposition where you can just all of a sudden draw really well, and you're going to get frustrated and you're going to give it up, which is a shame because I think that everybody needs some kind of creative outlet, you know. Mine just happens to be art. I mean, the same thing I think would be true with music. Like if you go in and say, I want to, you know, play like Beethoven or whatever,
Mhm.
how can you? How would you be able to? You wouldn't know, you know, how to do it. So
Well,
you would,
that's funny because one of the conversations we've been having um, with my audience is when we aren't in our own energy, what it looks like is we might have picked up an imprint of someone else. And so we think we have to make it look like them. And so we aren't expressing from the point of our truth, our soul. And that's where it gets conjumbled and we get mixed up, especially for the people here, because they're sensitive to energy.
Right.
They're feeling energy inside or on the outside. And they're like, wait, what's mine and what's another? And so we think we have to look like,
Right.
oh, I got to paint
Well,
like Kari, or I got to paint like this.
like, well, that makes me think of a story about my childhood. Like for years and years, I had this passion in me, but I was being led to believe by my parents that no, that's not what that's supposed to look like because it doesn't look real. Well, not all art looks real. Sometimes the best paintings I've seen are the people who just provoked an emotion in me
Right.
just from looking at different shapes, like say an abstract painting or something like that. Look at Salvador Dali. Remember when we would go to the museum, because that's like my favorite thing to do, is to go to the Met and look at all the Salvador Dalis. Well, he's a surrealistic painter, so things look kind of real, but they're not in the real way they should be. How genius is that? I thought because I couldn't paint landscapes, and the reason I couldn't paint landscapes is because I find them fucking boring. I'm sorry, probably shouldn't be swearing, but I do. I find like, well, I could just, I know how to use my camera pretty well, and I could just take a picture of it. Why not make it something with my energetic footprint on it? And that's what I knew as a child.
Right.
But I was talked out of it.
Right.
And
that's
not a good way to be, because that crushed my spirit for, God, a long time, long time, even after I got out of art school, which my parents did not recommend.
So then here are these, painful emotions. How have you learned to process through all of them so they don't bind you to a past,
my meditative process is like, I try and draw almost every day. I try and paint as much as I can because it helps me to, like I said, like that ongoing love letter type thing to myself, telling myself that it's okay that I paint like odd looking things, or if my people don't look real, or I don't paint something that necessarily belongs on a wall, that kind of, it's okay, because I'm just truly expressing myself. And that's really what's important. I find myself art journaling and doing a color meditation where, colors have meaning. They have similar meanings, but colors mean different things to different people. Different, like say red can mean passion, anger, or it could mean anything along those lines,
Right. So you can have an emotion that you can express with a color. So
right.
That's really what I have found in my own, kind of exploring what it looks like for me to be a creative. And we've talked about this before, the past, like texture of paint has something to be symbolism for me as well. Like if I have some things need a thinner kind of acrylic, but I also like a heavy acrylic for other things. I like texture. I want to have like different things on there. I might bring in, because I have like abstract kind of flow, I feel like, to my painting. Like I might want to add in some gold leafing, or I don't know,
Well,
even some crystals.
tell me, like, how do you feel when you're painting is the most important thing.
So it's funny because a lot of times, usually when I'm painting, I can just like release, but sometimes I find myself in stepping into like a perfectionism. Like I'm not drawing. I'm not a drawer. I've never been a clear line drawer. So I would maybe find a painting that I really like, something that looked good, and I would do my version of it. And then I would shame myself, and that would never feel good. So I've been really working with looking at the canvas, going with a color that feels to me like what belongs. I start to listen again, like I do when I cook, like tapping into spirit, just allowing it to
Right.
come. That feels so good. I don't know. And then they look different too. It's like they speak to me. I don't know. It's just, they might not look like a perfect angel, or might not look how other people see it, but to me it has a layer of energetics to it. And maybe the lines are, sometimes the lines are a little bit more stiff, and I feel like that tells a story too of where I was in my energy. Like, look, that needed to be straight, that needed to be perfect. Well, not, it's never perfect, but needed to be straight. And I love what you said about like the linear, you know, the horizontal, the vertical, like
vertical lines.
all of it, like that makes sense. And I feel like I want to go and relook at some of my paintings now to see like, where was I in my healing journey, in my expression, like what were my lines doing?
Right. What were your lines doing? What
were my
colors
lines doing?
What were they doing with their hands? I don't know. Colors have vibrations. If you were to put any of the complementary colors right next to one another in the same intensity, your eye would translate that as a vibration. You'd be like, whoa.
Yes.
A lot of logos are made that goes into like marketing and things like that. But it's fascinating to me that if you put like red and green right next to each other, they're either going to like make your eye go, oh my God, it's giving me a headache, or it's going to be like, whoa, they're like on fire, they're lighting up, they're sparkling. Like, I don't know how to describe it other than that they vibrate off of one another.
Well, it's funny, we can talk about colors too with this. When a while ago, I watched, I don't know, maybe it was last year, a year ago, whatever, I watched this whole thing about the iPhone. It really fascinating about the apps. And it was all around the colors that they used on certain apps and why they used them, because the psychological connection would cause you, if you saw a red thing on your phone, it would drive you nuts until you opened it. And so
ask my husband, anytime there's a little red dot by the thing on his phone, he can't have it there. It's so funny. It's true.
Yeah. And so anyways, this whole thing was like, you know, that speaks to you in terms of color, and it can really change your energy and your vibration. So they just recommended like you can make all of your apps like gray. I did that for a while. You can do it. Yeah, it really does. It really does stop it from talking to you, because you get bored with it.
Yeah, well, color has a voice. It really does.
So true.
And it has an energy.
So that's why it's like emotional. It can emotionally free us. It's a technique of emotional freedom, because it's expressing outward. It's like moving out from when you're emoting it through one of your energy centers, right?
Right. And I don't know, would it be your third eye? Like, I don't know what energy center it would be.
What I've noticed when I'm painting is like, it depends on the emotion I'm in, because your emotions can line up with your energy center. So if I'm feeling like, you know, really heart-centered, that's going to come from the heart center. If I'm feeling like a little bit insecure, it's probably going to be, you know, a little bit watered down and not as vibrant. It's going to be like it's probably going in my gut, because that's where my insecurity can rise.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. Like I typically paint in like blues and purples and cool colors, right? The cool colors make you think of the ocean, right? Warm colors make you think of the sun. So your yellow and reds.
Yeah.
So I typically don't paint in red, and I don't know why, but I did a painting of a woman, and she just has bright blue eyes, and I think she must represent me, and she just has flowers everywhere. And after I finished it, I was like, I cried. I was like, that was like my root chakra right there. And that's when I knew, I was like, okay, I'm an artist now. Okay, so I'm 54 years old, and I actually said it out loud, right? So, and I've been doing this my whole life. That's why I say creative is a better word, because, you know, like,
I figure myself as a creative too, because I'm not technical. It's not what I do for a living. but I create from the vantage point of it feels freaking good to get
That's what
it
I
out
mean.
of my body.
Right. The creative process is like mentally freeing. That's
Yeah.
why I try to teach that in my intuitive art journaling class, that it's not about what you're creating, it's the process of creating that
Mm.
simply helps you to feel better. Remember being like a little kid and you would be painting with, like, I don't know, your, let's say chocolate pudding, because it's better than like mushed up peas, but you know what I mean? Like you would just be painting on your little you know, tray or whatever, just la 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 la. That, think of that when you're like painting, just freeing your mind of all your
Mm.
worries and letting them go, you know. And that, through all my ups and downs in my life, has always been my constant, and it has helped me. It's helped me be here today.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Like if I wasn't doing my work and like, reading people and like I, I always would search, like, I want to be filled up, and that fills me. That brings me so much joy to sit with someone, and whether it's in one of my group experiences or one-on-one, it just fills me up. People like, aren't you tired? Aren't you tired? Like, no, like that
Right.
doesn't make me tired. What makes me tired is all of the other stuff in in the healing, when I get in my trying mode, when I try to be something that I'm not,
Right.
and I think that's human nature, right? We do that. But if we just allow ourselves to have this expression point of like, what does it look like for me just to be creative and be messy with that? And that's a
Right.
fun point. So
Well, art is messy. Art should be messy sometimes, right? Makes you feel
yeah, right.
better. It
I
makes you
agree.
feel better,
I agree. I
you
agree.
know? I know it's been a good day when I have paint that I can't get off my fingernails. You know what I mean?
Yes. I love that.
So, yeah.
That's amazing, right? And that's what you want for people. You want them to feel better. You want them to feel that joy, right?
Yeah, and color can tell you a lot about how you are feeling that particular day, you
You know
know?
it's but you know what? Let's talk about that, because when you have trauma, you don't know what you feel.
No, and I've experienced that firsthand. For years,
Yes.
I couldn't figure out why am I depressed all the time? Like, why? Didn't know. Took me years to figure it out.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that expressing, like, if you can find your way to experience a release, you'll feel better, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I know you have some really great classes coming up, and I really want you to talk about, like, what does it look like to art journal, because I've never seen anybody do it quite the way that you do it. To give everyone a starting point of where they can go, what they can do. What's a way you might suggest someone start to develop that habit of art journaling?
Just picking a word, a self-limiting belief, or something that you didn't like about yourself, or something like that, that you were led to believe to not like about yourself. Write it down in a watercolor pad or mixed media pad. Write it down in color pencil. Let's just say I was brought up to believe I was less than everyone else. So I would write down, I am not less than, in the center of my page with colored pencil. And then I would just start drawing on top of it the inside of a flower, like a bunch of circles, and then make that into a flower, just a basic flower. It doesn't have to be artistic at all. It's just transforming those yucky thoughts into something beautiful.
I remember the first time we did this. Oh my God, it was probably like 2016 or something. And I was so intimidated by it because, well, one, the word isn't a problem. Getting your low vibe thing that you think inside your head,
Mhm.
that pops right out, right?
Of course.
But getting it on the page is fine. But then the idea of like making it into something pretty. So
Mhm.
I couldn't even draw a flower at that point at all. You know, again, the line thing freaked me out. So I was doing hearts.
Hearts
I,
works.
that was
Hearts works.
that was like I had to dumb it down for myself in a way without shaming myself and being like, this is okay. I'm just gonna do like, you know, because you find yourself like, well, because this was an in-person class. I was like, well, what are they doing? What are they doing? I was like, no, be here. It's okay. You can do heart. You can, right?
Okay, so it doesn't have to be a flower. The goal, I can show you how to do a very basic flower. I mean flower, think of like when you're in kindergarten. You just
I
draw a bunch of
know.
circles. That's
Yeah.
all I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be fancy. The goal is try to make that yuckiness into something beautiful,
Right.
right?
But see, there's the tie when you begin of having an expectation. And
Right. And
I want,
that's what I want to show people, that it shouldn't be intimidating. You should be like you're in kindergarten, so excited to use those crayons. Remember that feeling? Like maybe it's just me, but I loved my crayons. I don't know if
right.
everybody else feels that way or not, but it was so exciting to do that. Just color
Mm.
whatever, it didn't matter.
Yeah, I love that. I
To
love
get
me.
that whimsical, innocent, childlike energy back into your brain and get all the crap and the stuff that we're conditioned to believe out.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
That's kind of what I'm after here. Like
Do you hear me?
simple.
Can you hear me now? Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear
You
you.
know,
I love that. So you have something fun coming up, which I haven't seen you do before, which is a lot of fun. You're doing a watercolor class.
I am doing a watercolor class. It's Introduction to Watercolor. And I'm hoping to show people adults, this is a class for adults, basic watercolor techniques so it doesn't look intimidating. To create your hearts, if that's what you want to do, but make those hearts look kind of cool because you know these techniques, right?
Yeah.
So it's more creative than just drawing a heart. You're making it your own.
I'm excited about it. I definitely am going to do it because in watercolors completely intimidate me. Like I've tried to work with them and I feel like I I have a heavy hand or something. Like I'm like, what is this thing? So
Well,
when
it's something that takes practice, but it's a lot of
yeah.
fun, and it is
And my mom watercolors. I mean, you know that like
yeah, and
that's her medium. She's
and
amazing.
she does gouache and watercolor, and she
What's
creates the
gouache?
most. Gouache is a water soluble paint, just like watercolor, but it's more opaque, which means you can't really see through it. Like watercolors are pretty transparent.
Oh, okay.
Gouache is opaque.
That makes sense then. That
But the
makes
difference
sense.
between that and acrylic paint is acrylic paint you can't reconstitute with water.
Right.
Once it's dry, it's freaking dry forever.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I learned something really new today. Yeah,
Yeah.
my mom's style is so completely different, right? Like we have
She has an eye for color and for patterns. She's really very good at that.
and lines are really important in her work too,
Yep.
like very important. So it's interesting to say that like now I understand that line has emotion. Like her work has so many layers to it. It's really kind of cool now to kind of think about that.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna go in the other room after we're done and look at her paintings that are on my wall
Yeah.
just to kind of feel that again.
Yep. Yep. You'll probably, things different will pop up into your head and be like, oh.
Yeah. And I'm really yeah, I'm excited about that. I think that's really cool. That's a wealth of knowledge right there, girlfriend. Woo!
Yep.
Woo!
Well,
When woo, when is the class starting again?
the introduction to watercolor is coming up on the 23rd.
March 23rd.
March 23rd, 12:30 to 2. It's a Zoom class. a live Zoom class.
Okay.
And you will need materials, which is there, it's on my website. You should order the materials. And if there is an interest, I will do intuitive art journaling after that, 3 to 4:30 on Wednesdays, the same time period, if there's an interest. If people listen to this and they're interested in what I do,
Right.
I'll make a class and schedule it for the 23rd, 3 to 4:30 for 5 weeks, the same as the watercolor class.
Where would they find this information, and how can they let anybody let you know that they're interested?
My website is Kari, KARI designs.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook.
We're going to put all this stuff in the show notes, guys. So it'll be in the show notes underneath. We'll add links, clickable links, so you can get right to the class or to the part of her website and her social.
Instagram is Kari D .designs. And there is a link in the bio there for that.
So with the watercolor class, what are we going to get from you? Like, tell me, like, if I register for this, you're going to give me a shopping list. So I have to go to the store, go to like Michael's, and I can get out all my stuff there. I can buy it off Amazon if I want to.
I have links on the website that will link you directly to blick.com, which is where I've found the best prices. So they're clickable links, and then you just read what, it is. I have a little picture of what it is to buy. If you can't do that, if you don't have enough time, because shipping lately is kind of crazy, you can go on Amazon if you choose to. Just look up what I wrote on there, or you can go to your local Michael's. You might not be able to get exactly what you might need at Michael's, but you might get something comparable.
Okay, good. Just so people understand what they can do. And then will there be recordings? Like, that's a big thing I have with, when somebody takes a class to me, they want to know if they're going to get a recording.
Yes, I will record it. And then if they miss a class or something.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that they can, they'll be able to listen to the class. I want people to be able to get their money's worth. I'm not, I want to make sure that people are happy and things like that.
That's awesome.
So, and they can, usually my students kind of become like my friends, and they'll just, they can email me or text me if they have questions. And, I try to keep things, friendly and happy. And, if they need help from me, I'm here to help.
That is wonderful, Kari. Well, I'm so glad that you're sharing this, and you're kind of stepping into kind of a bigger phase of like going with adults and stuff, even though it's intimidating.
It is intimidating because I'm used to teaching little kids. But now that I haven't been doing that for a couple of years, teaching kids is a lot of work. So I found that teaching adults is a little bit more fun, and we have fun conversations.
Well, thank you for sharing this wealth of knowledge. And I like the spiritual aspect too. I feel like that is one of the most important components for me, is like staying in alignment with God and being able to express all that we feel is what he wants us to do. And coming together in classes with like-minded people is another thing.
That's what I'm looking for, is like just like-minded people. Think about like colors of the chakra and the rainbow and all those yumminess, like how cool is that?
How cool is that? It's awesome.
It is cool. Very cool.
Well, thank you again. And again, you guys, we'll put everything in the show notes, and you can visit Kari. Definitely stalk her on social. It's a lot of fun. All right. And you guys, you know what I know, because angels don't lie. Thanks again for joining us. Have a beautiful day. God bless.
Thank you. Bye.